Hi everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully we're getting better at this Facebook Live stuff and you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing today. If you have not heard, Governor Little did make an order for stay at home for the next 21 days, so we will be closing the studio for painting. We will still be offering our pottery to go, and we will still be doing some Facebook Live instructions. So if you're interested in any of that, you can either give us a call or look on our website for more information for that. So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this little mini gnome. He kind of has a super long beard, but he is adorable. You should have gotten a gnome box. So let's take a look at what's inside. Should have a cup, and I have mine filled with just a little bit of water. Then we should have a bag of clay. You should have a foam mat. And you should have 2 tools. One of these is a bamboo skewer. It has a pokey end and it has a flat end. And then you should have a little wooden dowel, and this is going to be used as a rolling pin. Start off, we're going to work with our clay. Take it out of the bag. You don't really want to overwork clay. When you overwork clay, your hands take the moisture out of the clay, and so the clay will become very crumbly and it won't stick together, and it's very hard to get it to mold. So we don't want to overwork it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our bamboo skewer and we're going to cut this at about 2/3. We're just going to push that bamboo skewer down through the clay. And we should have approximately 2/3 and a 1/3 piece. We're going to set the 2/3 piece aside. We're not going to use that for right now. We're going to work with this smaller piece. So the smaller piece, we're going to squish it into a ball. And again, we don't want to overwork it, so just work it enough to get it into a nice round ball and then be done with it. Okay? Has a few lines in it, but that's okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumb and we're going to push our thumb in the middle, and we're going to go about 2/3 of the way through. Right? So it should stick on your thumb just like mine. We're going to take our first 2 fingers and we're going to gently squeeze as we go around, and we're going to, we call it quacking. So we go quack, 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 quack. And as you're quacking, you're squeezing the clay between your thumb and your first 2 fingers, and you're opening up the center hole and you're thinning out that clay. Okay, let me hear you quack, 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 quack. We want it to be about as thick as an Oreo cookie. Not a double stuff or a triple stuff, just a nice double stuff Oreo cookie. Okay? It doesn't matter if it gets a little cracks in it, that's okay. Okay, so basically we've made a pinch pot. Okay? You don't want it to be super thick. You want it about the same thickness all the way around. That includes here at the top as well. Okay, so you should have a little pinch pot. And we're going to take it and on our piece of foam, we're just going to tap it a couple times. What that does is it gives it a nice flat base here, because this is actually the bottom of our gnome. Okay, And there you have his body. Next, we're going to take this large piece of clay and we're going to cut it in half. Again, just with our skewer, just push your skewer right through that clay. We're going to work with half of it, set the other half aside. So this piece, we're going to cut it into even smaller pieces. So we need to have a nose, 2 feet, a beard, and a hat. So let's start off with the beard. We're going to take this piece of clay and cut it in half. Set half of it aside. We're going to move our gnome's body off. We're going to take this clay, roll it up into a ball. We always start everything off with a ball. Okay, nice ball. We're gonna smash it flat. Get those aggressions out. Then we're going to take our handy dandy little rolling pin here. I'm just going to roll it out. You can roll it this way, turn your canvas or your foam and roll it this way. Roll it this way. You don't want it to be super thin or it will just fall apart. And you see about how thin that is? Okay. So on our little gnome here, our beard is going to sit right on here. So we need to decide what our beard is going to look like. First, we're going to cut out where the beard is going to be on the gnome's body. So just like we're cutting out half of a circle, you just draw it the first time, go through a second time a little bit thicker, and the third time it should come all the way off. Okay, if you notice, my beard is kind of all wonky, so I'm going to sculpt it a little bit. And again, I'm going to draw it. Go through one more time. Now this third time I should be all the way through, and indeed it comes right off. Okay. I don't think I want it quite that long. Cut it off. All right, if you notice on this gnome, all that I did was I took my skewer and I scratched some lines in there to give him some texture in his beard. I'm going to make this gnome a little bit fancier. So I'm going to show you a technique that you can do. You take little pieces of clay and you just roll it like a worm. Remember when you did that when you were a kid? We're going to take just a little bit of water on our finger and make sure that that is nice and squishy. Then we're going to roll it up. Not only squishy, but a little bit on the sticky side. Okay. I'm going to take my bamboo skewer and dip it in my water, and I'm just going to scratch up just a little bit. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. Whenever we put two pieces of clay together, we need to add a little bit of slip and we need to score it. Well, with the tools that we have, what we do is we add a little bit of water instead of slip, and we scratch it up a little bit with our bamboo skewer. That's the same as scoring it. You add the water to the clay, it makes it wet, it creates slip. If I have two pieces of clay and I just put them together, even if I squish them together, they may look like they're going to stay, but actually once they dry, they just pop right apart. So you always add slip and score your pieces. or in this case, scratch it up with a bamboo skewer and add water. So I am going to give my guy curly whiskers. He's going to be an aristocrat. Okay. And these little suckers get slippery and sticky. But he turns out super cute. With all of his little whiskers. Okay, kind of get the idea of what he's going to look like. Okay, this is the last one I'm going to do right now, because I'm not going to make you watch me make all these little coils. So what we want to do is go back to our gnome body, and where that beard is going to touch on here, we need to scratch that up, add a little bit of water, okay, take that little beard, okay, make sure you press that down really well. You can see on this one I kind of curved it up and I gave it a little point. You can do whatever you'd like. This guy's going to have all kinds of ringlets in his. Okay, so we're going to go on to this other block that we cut, and this is going to be used for the shoes and the nose. First thing what we're going to do is just tear it in half, tear one of those in half, and you can use these for his shoes. You always want to make sure that they're the same size, so before you start sticking them on there, go ahead and roll your balls of clay out. Make sure that they're the same size. Nothing worse than a gnome with two different sized feet. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to make mine a little more oval. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to pinch right back here. And that gives it a flat area that his body can sit on. Okay, so we're going to do that for both of them. Okay, looking good. We're going to take a little bit of water on our bamboo skewer and scratch that up. Get it just a little bit goopy. We don't want his shoes to fall off. Okay, and he is going to have his shoes sit on either side of his beard. So shove those right underneath where his beard is and have him push it down just a little bit, and he should sit very nicely right on top of those shoes. Okay? So you have a large piece of clay here. You can make this gnome's nose as big or as small as you would like. You can see this guy's nose. I think this guy, because he's going to be an aristocrat, he is going to have a pretty good sized schnoz. Look at the size of that. Just about the same size as his shoes. Okay, I'm going to pinch that just a little bit. This is the part that's going to get scored and sit on top of his beard. This is the part that his hat is going to sit on. I'm going to add a little bit of water, scratch up that backside. Turn it over, scratch up this side. I'm going to set that right on top of his beard. Okay, so my guy is ready for his hat. I'm going to start with the ball again. I'll take that big old piece of clay that you have, roll it into a ball, and then what are we going to do? We're going to smash it. And roll it out. We want this to be about not quite as thick as an Oreo cookie. You don't want it super thin or his hat will break. And you want to try and keep it relatively square or round. You don't want it to be really rectangular or oblong. As we have to cut a piece of pizza wedge out of it. Just try and go back and forth. Make sure you're starting in the middle, rolling out to one end, rolling back towards the other. Keep turning your mat, and that's going to help it to stay in shape. Okay, so we should have a pretty good sized piece here. You see mine's not super thin. It's not quite as thick as an Oreo cookie, but it's not as thin as his beard was. And I am going to cut a pizza shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. So does everybody have a pizza shape? A giant triangle? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our bamboo skewer and our water, and we're just going to scratch up one edge. Make little X's, little lines one way, little lines the other way. Make sure you keep adding water. Important to have that water on there. It's what makes it goopy. We like goopy. All right. So you have your pie wedge, and it's very goopy, we're going to roll it up, and you're actually going to tuck that edge and turn it under. You're going to create like a ice cream cone. Do you see how I wrapped that over the edge? Okay, and now you're going to gently press it together. Then we're going to put our thumb in, or our finger inside. Down here at the end, we're just going to squeeze it together. When you get on the seam, you're going to start just kind of smearing that seam till it disappears. Because your finger's on the inside, it's creating pressure. Okay, just keep doing that until your seam disappears. Then you can put 2 fingers in there, hopefully. Take just a little bit of water and you can smear that all out. Make that line completely disappear. When you get up here, you can add a little bit of water. Make sure that it comes to a nice point. Then you can just pull it a little bit. A little bit of water on your hand and just pull that. Okay, and there you have your gnome's hat. See how it looks on the inside? On the end here, you're going to just curl it out a little bit so that it sits on his head. Okay, and we're going to take our water, scratch that up, little X's again with the water all the way around. Okay, here's our gnome. So if you have a little bit of a dent right here where your 2 pieces overlapped, that is great. It works well to go right over the bridge of his nose. If you don't want to do that, you can turn that to the back. It's totally up to you. But press this down on his head, gently. Press that all the way around. Okay. And there you have your gnome. Now I'm going to finish his beard, but I can also work on his hat. So I'm going to get my fingers in the water a little bit more. I want to have his hat to have a curl on the top. So I'm going to keep pulling it out until I have really nice curl. I'm happy with that. I am going to continue to give him some little curls on his beard. You can keep coming and watching along with me, or you can finish your gnome. Maybe you want to add some flowers or some design on him, you could make a nice swirly design on his hat. Don't forget to take a picture of your gnome and put it on our Facebook page so we can see what it looks like. And don't forget, these need to dry for a week, and then bring them in and we will fire them, and then we'll give you paints and you can take them home and paint them. Even during the quarantine, you can still pick up paint from us so that you can have something to do when you're at home and not going crazy. You can also scratch up your beard if you wanted to at this point. Right now he kind of looks like he's got worms all over him. Not really what I was going for, but once he gets painted, I'm sure he will be very debonair. Not quite sure if he's going to look like one of the founding fathers or not, but maybe he'll look like Rumpelstiltskin. Or Rip Van Winkle. Okay, I think this is my last one. Okay, there he is with his beard. Looks kind of funny right now. Hopefully it'll look awesome when we fire him. All right, so that is our mini gnome. Just to give you a heads up, we will be doing a mandala class next week at this same time. If you are interested, just killed my gnome. This is what we will be working on. You can pick up these supplies at our studio. Just go ahead and give us a call and we can have them ready. You can pick up to 5 colors, and then we will be working with all kinds of different tools to make these dots. So if you're interested, the supplies are $15 for everything. And like I said, give us a call and we will be having the class next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Hope you guys have a good evening, and we'll see you later.